This is for men who stopped waiting for replies. What separates a man who chases from a man who doesn't? It's not confidence, it's regulation. This man is not detached. He is self-regulated. And once you understand the psychology behind this, you'll see why the calmest men aren't the ones who never cared. They're the ones who learned to stop outsourcing their emotional stability to other people. His nervous system is no longer externally controlled. Not waiting for messages is not about pride. It means his nervous system is no longer wired to anticipation, hope-disappointment cycles, or emotional dependency. Psychologically, he has shifted from anxious attachment toward earned security. He doesn't need constant signals to feel safe. Psychologists call this secure autonomy, the ability to exist without needing external validation to regulate your emotional state. And once you understand this, you'll see why men who don't chase aren't playing games. They've just stopped making other people responsible for their peace. Your relationships, your emotional stability, even your sense of self-worth, all of it shifts when you stop needing someone else as attention to feel okay. But here's where most people misunderstand. He has reclaimed authorship of his emotions. Laughing alone signals something rare. He doesn't outsource joy. Most people use others to regulate mood company to avoid emptiness, attention to avoid self-doubt. He has learned emotional self-generation. That only happens after long periods of solitude or emotional loss. This is usually learned, not innate. Most people think emotional independence is natural for some men. It's not. It's earned through repeatedly waiting for people who never came, through learning that your happiness cannot depend on someone else's availability. But here's what changes everything. His identity is no longer relational. Getting dressed for himself means his self-image does not depend on being seen. He no longer defines himself by who desires him. In psychology, this is a move from reflected self-worth to intrinsic self-respect. He doesn't ask, how will this look? He asks, does this align with who I am? That shift from performing for approval to existing from authenticity is the difference between a boy and a man, between someone who needs validation and someone who validates himself. Here's the psychological reality most people avoid. He has integrated disappointment instead of denying it. Men like this often arrive here after waiting for people who didn't choose them, giving effort that wasn't reciprocated, learning that presence doesn't guarantee priority. Instead of becoming bitter, he integrated loss into identity. That's emotional maturity. He didn't harden, he accepted. He didn't close off, he chose differently. He stopped making his worth contingent on being chosen and started choosing himself first. If you're tired of chasing people who don't reciprocate, if you've finally reached the point where peace matters more than attention, subscribe right now and comment below. What was the moment you stopped waiting? Because we're breaking down the psychology of self-regulated men, why emotional independence is earned through loss, and how to finally stop performing for validation. This goes deeper. He no longer confuses intensity with connection. Waiting, checking, hoping, overthinking, those feel like love, but are often anxiety. He has learned peace is a better signal than excitement. This is why he sleeps easily. Your mind thinks excitement equals attraction, but the reality is chronic anxiety masquerading as passion is just your nervous system in fight or flight. Real connection doesn't keep you up at night wondering. It lets you rest knowing someone is consistent. If that hit you good, it means you're distinguishing anxiety from love. He values dignity over validation. Underneath everything is one core principle. Self-respect precedes connection. He would rather be alone than emotionally dependent, chronically uncertain, or subtly diminished. That doesn't make him antisocial, it makes him selective. He's not refusing connection, he's refusing connection that costs him his peace. And that selectivity is what makes him magnetic, because people can sense when someone doesn't need them to feel whole. What he is not, it's important to clarify this. He is not emotionally numb, incapable of love, or superior to others. He still wants connection, he just refuses to bleed for it. He's not cold, he's boundaried. He's not unavailable, he's uncompromising about his standards. Here's the truth that explains everything. Men like this often look calm because the war already happened. They waited. They hoped. They learned. And eventually they stopped building their life around someone else's response. If you want to reach this place, start with brutal honesty. His strength is not independence. It's the ability to be whole before connection. Most men think being alone makes them strong. It doesn't. Being comfortable alone makes you strong. Being fulfilled alone makes you ready for connection that adds to your life instead of completes it. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop waiting for people to text back. Stop checking if they viewed your story. Stop building your day around someone else's availability. Not out of spite, not to play games, but because your peace is non-negotiable. You reclaim your nervous system by stopping the cycle of hope and disappointment, by learning to laugh alone, by getting dressed for yourself, by sleeping peacefully without needing reassurance that someone still cares. And when you reach that place, when you genuinely no longer need someone's attention to feel stable, that's when the right people show up. Not because you played it cool, but because you became someone who doesn't need to be completed. The man who no longer waits isn't giving up on connection. He's refusing to sacrifice himself for it. And that refusal, that unwillingness to bleed for breadcrumbs, is what separates boys who chase validation from men who attract respect. So stop performing, stop waiting. Stop building your emotional stability on someone else's inconsistency. Build it on yourself first. Because connection is beautiful, but only when it's addition, not completion.